Well, congratulations to you both on the film.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Paul, you wrote as well as directing this. Where did the story come from? Was it based on somebody that you knew?
Yeah, in my mid-20s, I was living with a woman named Brittany who I'd gone to college with, and she had started trying to figure out what she wanted to do with her life and with the direction she wanted her life to go. I think the way that a lot of us feel in our mid-20s, and out of a really vulnerable and intimate conversation, she went for her first run, and I started secretly outlining the movie, stealing her life bit by bit.
That's very naughty.
Yes.
So what made you want to direct the story as well as writing it?
After I'd written it, I realized that it was a very precious tone, meaning it was funny, but it was also dramatic, and it was human, but it was also irreverent, and I wanted to make sure nothing got lost in translation. I wanted to make sure that the audience got to experience the story the way that I'd hoped they would experience it, which was the full range of emotions. And so I'd never directed anything before, and it became my own Brittany Runs a Marathon moment of deciding this is something I needed to do. And luckily, Jillian Bell came on board with the same exact goal and the intention, and we protected the character together in a way that I'm very proud of.
And I guess it's too easy to say that this is a film about losing weight. There's much more to it than that. And you
Yeah.
actually sidestep that terrible cliche
Yeah.
of losing weight means everything's wonderful. How did you go about doing that? Was it something you always set out to do?
Yeah, I think we set goals in our lives, and sometimes these goals are fed to us by society or friends or culture. And it turns out in pursuing those goals that actually we were pursuing a different goal all along, a much more healthy, much more genuine, much more personal goal. So the idea was to take something that seems sort of trope-ish, sort of, the story we've all seen before, and continue subverting it over and over again. And part of that was doing that with Brittany's goal.
So this is where you get to embarrass Jillian. Why did you choose her for the role?
Why did you? You regretted it.
No. If I could
Tell
do
it
it
now.
again.
Air it now. Who would your dream cast be?
Jillian, we had a meeting at a cafe in Brooklyn talking about the script, and I had been a fan of Jillian's for forever for her comedy work. But this was also a dramatic role. There's comedy and drama in it, and I was a fan of hers, and I'd watched a lot of interviews with her too, but I really didn't know if Jillian was going to be able to be a dramatic actress. And in that conversation, instantly I saw this whole other side to her that was vulnerable and understated and protective and insightful. And we had a lot of talks, and then we got together. I was taking a leap of faith based off of our conversation, what I felt from her, and then really truly we got together once to talk through the script in LA before we sort of went through our process, and she spoke one line as Brittany, and I knew she was going to be phenomenal in the role.
Oh, thank you.
Turning the tables, Jillian, why did you want to work with him?
I read the script first. My manager had sent it to me, and she said, this is something that you've been looking for. It's very different. Maybe out of your comfort zone, a little too close to home, but a beautiful story, and it's also got a lot of comedy in it. And the comedy was hysterical, by the way. I mean, you're very good with drama, but I was also in love with who she was as a person, and then I sat down with Paul, and I remember being so nervous at that meeting too, because there was a lot on the line. Like, I wanted to prove to you that I could do it, and I also wanted you to come at me with your vision and make sure it was in line with what I thought the script was, because you're right, if it's not handled the right way, in the wrong hands, just one line or one scene could be, the whole thing's shot if it doesn't work. And you had such a beautiful point of view, and it matched the script, and we just really connected over this shared love for Brittany and who she could be.
And most of the comedy comes from her, but she kind of uses it as a self-defense mechanism.
Some of the time, yeah.
Was that always in the character, or was that something that you developed?
No, that was always in the character. I think, I don't want to speak about real Brittany on her behalf, but I think she would say, like, that's kind of where she came from. She was always down to sort of sometimes be the butt of the joke, or make fun of herself first, and
I think we all are.
Yeah,
it's something I know
do
that
it.
I do all the time, is if something's uncomfortable, I go right to humor. And if that discomfort stems from my discomfort with myself, that's the first trick or the first tool that I use. And so really what we were exploring was, comedy's about pain. So how do we have the laughs? How do we have the comedy? And then also bring the pain to the surface a little bit so that we're showing people's pathos and depth and emotions too.
And the reverse of that too. Like some of the more painful moments in the movie also have moments of levity, and that's some of my favorite moments in film.
Now, Jillian, you've got an awful lot of projects coming up, but the one I've got to ask you about comes out next year, which, of course, is Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that, apart from the fact that it's going to be excellent?
It's going to be excellent. I was there the first day they got back into character, and seeing them do that in front of you is a wild, wild thing. I mean, I grew up on those movies, so I think people will be really excited about what they're doing.
I think there's an awful lot of people looking forward to it. One last question. Have either of you ever run a marathon?
No, and we won't.
No.
Yeah, we've no
Definitely,
intention.
not even a half of one.
No, press day. That's our marathon.
That's our marathon.
No, I started running actually after the film. After we shot the film, I was never a runner, and I confirmed that I don't like it.
That made you realize,
Yes.
like, I'm not into it.
Certainly.
Wow.
I'll join you on that.
For sure.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
Thank you.